Hey, what's going on, y'all? Today we back with my first impressions video of Black Myth Wukong. And today we're going to be talking about a variety of things from story to art, performance, weapons, combat, a lot of things. So, with that being said, we're going to start this off with the story of Black Myth Wukong. All footage you'll see will be things from my live streams or just personal recording. The story so far is a little bit different than what I expected it to be, even though it's not exactly the same story as Sun Wukong. We see a lot of highlights of Journey to the West, some adaptations of movies, shows, books, all of it, and I think they've done a really good job so far. It's kept people from, even like me, I've seen a lot of stuff on it and I have my own theories of what's to come, but right now we don't know much. As far as the art style of the game, I love it. I don't think that they just went too heavy on graphics and that was it. I think they did right by a lot of the 3D scans of architecture throughout China, doing really well, staying close to characters that we've known and kind of elaborate on characters that are new that we've never seen before or heard about. And they've done a really awesome job with this character creation. And as far as how the cutscenes run and how it's all been going, I think it smoothly transitions from battle to cutscenes back to the battling. I know a lot of people had a lot of different opinions on the voice acting and how well things matched up and everything. For me personally, this is one personal thing, I don't go too heavy into those things. I think it's really big to just make sure you got really good voice acting, people that show that they care about it, even if technical things like this don't always line up, like the lips and stuff like that. But what I've heard of the Chinese voice acting as well as the English voice acting, I've been really impressed so far. It's nothing too cheesy, nothing too silly. Looks like everybody fits their role pretty well. Got no problems with that. I think they've done a really, really good job all around with how they've displayed the characters, the story, the pacing of the world. I thought they've done a really, really good job with that. Next, I want to get into the performance of Black Myth Wukong. What you're going to see for the next 30 seconds to a minute or so is the game running on ray tracing, full setting, cinematic, everything pumped. I am running my stuff on a 4070, and I will say that I didn't have any problems with ray tracing up until this ice winter area. And as you can see in the footage, it's a lot of skips, stutters, the rendering's tough. It's the flashing of the sunlight and shadows and all that coming in and out. I just really had a bad time whenever it came to running ray tracing and all the other settings at max in this particular area. Everywhere else, actually, I've had no problems and no limitations. But as you can see here, on live stream, I made it a point to, I'm just gonna, my next break or the next time I see it get really egregious, I'm just gonna close this out. Right now, I'm just shutting off ray tracing, and on here, you would have to do a full restart of the game to make those settings take into effect. But up until then, I was giving it a chance, well, maybe it'll get together, but then right about here, it all goes bad. It just stops, and I said, okay, fine. So I am pulling up Steam and forcing this to stop, because it was just a really bad time. After that, though, I will say in between then and everything like that, there might be some frame drops, but besides that, I haven't had any problems with it. The combat in this has been really good. Everything has played really smoothly. I've seen that there's a variety of builds and things you can do, even though this is kind of a minimal kind of build. Like, it's not your typical Souls type of build where you can go in with a claymore and then go in an axe, and then go in as a mage, and then go in with dex, or go in with elemental things, or it's not really set up that way. It has some limitations, but I will say my biggest limitation is the skills, the skill tree, the amount of skill points you get. All those things we'll touch on very soon. But as right now, I just wanted you to see that it all runs smoothly. It all looks great. The combat is very fluid. I haven't had any problems with kind of any of those things. I've really liked the fact that some of these armors and things like that have different kind of setups, and the armor you wear isn't just cosmetic. But as far as the skills and all that go, the problem is not necessarily the skills. I've seen things talking about some people didn't like the skill tree. I have no problem with the skill tree itself. My problem with the skill tree is that there are so many different skills, as I'm showing you here, but they don't give you enough skill points to actually go deep within these systems to make all of them viable. I have only been able to, at the end of chapter 3, the beginning of chapter 4, all of this is what you see is my skill tree. And as you can see, about 60% of it, at least half of it, is just not filled in. And that's because I think they want you to play in certain styles. But my thing is, I'm the Monkey King, or the hair of the Monkey King, or somebody to take up the mantle of the Monkey King. We don't know just yet, but it would be nice to be able to use a lot more of these things. The biggest thing for me is the thrust stance, pillar stance, and smash stance. I would love to be able to use all of those, but as of right now, I've only got enough skill points to pump into one of them. And the other things like the spells and stuff, I would have to take away from one, put on another, things like that. The biggest egregious thing I would say skill-wise that I found was annoying is the Ring of Fire. Just absolutely useless other than getting Regent health. I just didn't think it was good. Moving on though from that, I want to talk about the loot, or lack thereof of loot. The next few clips you're going to see is what the loot in this looks like. It was pretty much picking up will, picking up things for crafting, and then you will come across chests eventually in this where they would give you some cool item, whether that would be to boost your stats, a curio item for charms and stuff like that, things to craft the weapons and armor and things like that. So it's not like they were totally useless, but as far as going in thinking, okay, I'm gonna go in and be picking up loot after loot after loot, this and that, it's not necessarily so. You're mostly picking up will, you have your skill point, you have these random chests like this. So I don't know, I thought they could have did a better job with the loots and all of that. As far as the armors and things, like I was telling you, they have a variety of different ways that you can mix and match your weapons, your curios, your armors, and they all do different things, as well as have different statistical points in them. So sometimes it's like I might have to sacrifice in my defense a little bit, but this gives me a boost in stamina, or it gives me a boost in my I think it was resolve point or something like that, focus point, the focus points and things like that. So it's you have a myriad of different options I had seen. So I really appreciate the kind of just the foundation that they built their systems on of strategy and things like that. I loved it. Didn't have too much of a problem. The one big thing you're going to see here is my biggest problem is right now, up until chapter 3, I could only choose between 2 or 3 different weapons. And the bummer about that is I had crafted other weapons, but if I wanted an older weapon, I would have to go back through and recraft that weapon. I found that to be a big pain. I didn't like that. I didn't understand that. I didn't agree with it. I think they need to do better at that and making it to where you can use any weapon that you want to use any point in time. So to essentially wrap up, the last thing I want to say is this game is linear and has a lot of linear aspects, but then there's a lot of point in times where you just get lost and you don't know where you're going. And I would like to really speak with people that have not, or what they think are linear games, and show them a true linear game of you can only go forward and back. There is no going left and right. Like, I found a lot of looping around areas and stuff like that. So the linear, non-linear aspect is very much up in the air. I will say though, I have been thoroughly enjoying this game. It's lived up to my not even my expectation of what I would want, but as far as living up to Wukong, the Monkey King, and everything it had to offer. So this has been my first impression review, and I hope to see more from you guys later. Thank you. Take it easy. I'm getting up out of here. Peace.